Hi, it's Darcy Bro here, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of like a part two of a video that you're probably going to see earlier than this one, or maybe not. Who knows? I don't know how I'm scheduling my videos anymore. Um, but pretty much how it works is I was going to do originally the plan was to do like pretty much talk about the Dabi third quirk skill or a third quirk or second quirk skill set for Dabi and a second quirk skill set for Shoto, which would make them pretty much have three quirks or three like options, I guess, if you will. However, I've decided to still talk about the Dabi one, but I do want to talk about a possible quirk skill or quirk addition um, or new character, pretty much, and that being Sir Nighteye, or the character that I really hope comes to the game and is actually good. I mean, for a character whose quirk is that they foresee the future, like Himdall, I hope they're good. Pretty much, if you before I get it started, I want to say that the next actual video of this type of video will be on my idea of a actual, twice quirk skill set. That one's guaranteed, and possibly, a maybe whatchamacallit, a new quirk skill set for maybe some other character I'm not going to reveal that I may or may not like. That might be a hint or too much of it or a dead giveaway if you actually watch the streams. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the first one being Dabi. What would this other quirk skill set be? So I was thinking, as you know, he's got a red and a purple. Now, this one could be blue and could be red as well, depending on how you see it. I mean, there's also arguing for purple, but like I would prefer the red or blue here, for especially for the idea I have in mind. So the first idea I have for his quirk skill set is like, how do I say this? Kind of making the idea of that that burning attack, like utilizing the full utilization of his fire. And before I get into his alpha, I'm actually going to start from his beta. His beta, in my mind, of how this would go, is what I call flash fire, which is why I said he could be a rapid. But pretty much how this beta would go is he would do like a zigzag pathway, or instead of like a straightforward kick as he does with his normal strike beta, but it's like a zigzag. And instead of him like, choke slamming you, like if he starts it up and like if he starts up the flash fire and goes ping ping, he can dash through people instead. And but it's like they get burnt. They get that like burning like thing where like if you step in a fire you have that burning effect on you where you still take damage after you leave. And it pretty much does that and does what like pretty much makes it to where they're at what they call like in burning mode. Since there's modes now, you know, like where you can't hear, if you've seen Present Mike by this time. So this could be called like a burning mode. It puts them in the burning effect and puts them in what we call a burning mode. However, if they end it, if where it ends is on a person or on a enemy, it will then do the normal Dobby beta, but he doesn't grab you and like lift you in the air. He just ends it and he just chokes you. He just starts choking you. Ugh. You can't now. This one would be you can only use it once if you do the successful grab, but if you could do it multiple times if you do the version where you just go like through them. And why would this be good is because like pretty much I imagine like him moving around and grabbing people or like, you having to be like, instead of just trying to grab them, maybe you use it to like get to them, or like run away or get past them. You know what I mean? Like if your teammates behind, like behind the enemy. Because I've always noticed one thing about my hero is they prioritize auto aim than like going where you want. There are many times when I've been a character like Denki, and I will do my gamma to try to go somewhere, and I'm like, I want to leave. I want to leave. I'm trying to dip, and I do it, and my character will just turn around and look at a character I'm not even an enemy that I'm not even looking at, and will just jump at him. And I'm like, no, and then I will die because of that. And I'm like, there's no way to like turn it on or off. Like holding makes it to where you just go the way you want to go. And if you tap it, you go like you do pretty much, you still go the way you want to go, but like it still does it. But in this case, it does the auto aim if there's an enemy nearby. Because there's times when I'm not even looking at an enemy, I hit gamma to try to leave, and my character will do literally like turn a 90-degree angle towards the closest person and be like, hey, I want them hands. So in this case, you could pretty much prevent that from happening, while also making it to where if you do get that sweet spot at the end, you still got that normal Dabi feel, that like evil Dabi, I'm gonna grab and choke you. The third one is pretty much an idea that I've had for, like the stompage. So it's pretty much similar to what I said for Endeavor. If you watched the previous video, I'm not going to go into full detail, but please watch that previous like quirk video if you want to understand what I'm saying, like the full understanding about this. But pretty much in this case, his gamma would be like a stomp. And for anyone affected with burning, like the burning effect, right? The burning mode in this case, they like launch up, because like fire just erupts underneath him and goes. So like he stomps his foot, and if you had burning mode if you were in burning mode as the enemy, then a fire will just from underneath you. Like you can roll out, but it like pretty much it like spawn like it like starts erupting from beneath you, regardless of distance. It just erupts. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't that OP? Well, it's not really. Because obviously, yes, giving it unlimited range would be, sounds crazy. But obviously, if you make it to where burning mode has like a 30-second timer or 20-second timer where then it fades off of them, then it's not exactly OP. And still making it to where they can roll away from it. It just starts right there underneath them, no matter where they are in that area. So, like, if they're in the sky, even though that doesn't exactly make sense, it would just erupt from in the sky. You know what I mean? Like, it just. So, like, pretty much they have to be on the move. So, if they're caught healing, right? They're not looking at their feet, then they get they get exploded. Now, I know what you're thinking. What would this move do if there is nobody with burning mode? So, instead, if there is no enemies inflicted with burning mode, then this move would instead just do purple or Tech Dabi's shield, but like smaller, on a smaller scale. I would say about what it would be at for level 4 Tech Dabi's shield, and it doesn't get bigger. That's the difference. It also doesn't get bigger. You know what I mean? So he just does a normal stomp, and it's slightly weaker because he's trying to erupt stuff. And if you obviously, and it would not, you can either what they can do is they can make it to where it does still do the shield even if there is enemies with burning mode, or it can make it to where it doesn't do the shield if there's enemies with burning mode. So pretty much you flip flop, and like that would be pretty cool. Or if they want, it could do nothing, but like it can get more ammo so that if you do inflict enemies with burning mode, you can do it more times. That would be dope. Or if you level up, you can do it more times. Either one. I will take either one. I think the idea of having more stomps is just hilarious. Like, it doesn't turn it off. It doesn't turn off the burning mode if they get hit. It just, you can do it again. Because imagine if you get hit with it once, you're like, nah, and then you're like, damn, okay, I need to heal after that one. And then they just do it again. And then you're like, I'm rolling. And then you roll into, like, it could cause them to roll into the storm. Or if the circle's too small, then they just have to die. It's like, or they roll into the storm and die anyway. Or they would have to attack you. You see what I mean? It forces things. So it's like pretty much Dabi, because Dabi's all about like controlling like the situation. In fact, like even if you watch the anime, he's all about like predicting like people and also just not caring. So it's like, but like when if you've seen him interact with Hawks, seen him interact with Twice, he has a specific way. Even with Toga, he has a specific way, and you can even tell by their kind of like what people say is like their seems like a family relationship bond, if you will, in the game. And so that's for those two moves. His triangle can be a different move, but most likely since they haven't changed quirk skill triangles yet, we'll just say it's still the revive thing. Even though if I could change it, I definitely would for this version to something else. However, now I know what you're thinking. What about the alpha? The last one. So we got a move that he moves around. We got a move that he can just stomp, and either, depending on how they want to do it, either makes a shield or just makes fire erupt, which is why I said it could be a red. But because of flash fire, it could be a blue. And this is where it pretty much solidifies the blue or the red. Mainly leaning towards the blue because I just want to see how funny it would be to see a blue rapid Dabi coming at you. But pretty much this attack would utilize like it'd be a melee. If anything, it'd be more like a charge, like a leaping melee. Kinda because it utilizes the fact that he knows how to fly with his red version, but also making it to where he moves. So pretty much he like flies forward, like burning in like anything in the path. If you're familiar with Pokemon, this move would be called like Brave Bird or something, or Flame Charge. Either of those moves. So he surrounds himself with a fire and he flies forward. And he can still be hurt. He doesn't like deflect anything. It just like if you touch him, kind of like how if you touch Hawks when he does his beta, you take damage. So he'd like fly. He doesn't do anything when he flies forward and hits people. Like they just get hit. But it's like he can aim it in any direction because he's flying. He's flying because he can fly already. So in this case, he's like charging in that direction, kind of like Shigaraki, yellow Shigaraki or assault Shigaraki, depending which one you care about, is Gamma, where he flies and then like can slam on the ground. But instead of slamming, he's just flying in that direction, and then he like stops. So like in this case, right, you'd be like flying upward to fight a Hawks, and you flash fire at him like boom 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 boom. And then like if you do hit him or you go past him with it, then like because he's like trying to evade you in the air, right? Then you just stomp while in the air, so you're just like, Actually, no. And I guess this move would maybe cause you to do would like maybe make you fall down. I don't know how they would realistically want to do it, because if they do the shield, it has to be a stomp, which means your character would come all the way down from the sky. If they want to make it to where it's not, instead there is no shield no matter what, then they can make it to where like he like sparks fire in his hand, or like he claps his hands or something, and then the fire appears in his hand, which is what caused the eruption on the enemy. In which case it could be like a little stutter, like he stops in the air and he claps, or he stops in the air and pulls out fire, like snaps his fingers or something, and then that would be pretty dope, actually. Now that if you think about it that way. Now, if they do the shield one, it makes it closer to the red one than the blue one, even if two of his moves move him like around. Like it still has that strike version of him where he's just not moving for one of his moves. However, Toga also has a move where she just doesn't go anywhere. Like that boomerang assault move is not going anywhere. Like, but she's a blue. So, I mean, I could still see it being counted as a blue, but I pretty much just wanted it like another blue that would be funny to see, and also isn't going to be about that life of trying to resing. So I don't have to worry about being like, oh yeah, why is my teammate not resing me? But then also, like, this character would be able to get to you quickly enough to like save your life, possibly, because he like there's only like some of the blues are able to like threaten people to get them off of a teammate, like Ida, Hawks. Even though Hawks, players don't play them correctly, but Idas and stuff, they, that like when you see an Ida coming or a Hawks coming at you, you're not gonna focus on the downed person. But there's not enough of those types of characters. Twice can kinda sorta get you off his teammate, but like if you're like an overhaul, you're gonna see it twice and you're gonna go, I don't care. Boom, boom, boom. You see what I mean? You're just not gonna care. If you're all might, you're gonna punch right through twice. So in this case, right, like Ochako, I've never been scared of an Ochako in my life, and a Frappy is barely scary unless you're low HP and you're trying to run away. And a Mirio can kinda sorta, but like realistically, there's just too many characters who are just not gonna care about Mirio existing. So with that being said, this would actually make a character who might be enough to just like cause you to, back off and can actually get to their teammate if needed. Because imagine like you down, I don't know, a Mount Lady or a Toga or a Twice or something, and you look to your right and you see a boom 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 boom, Dabi coming at you real quickly like bro's doing zigzags, so he's also dodging. The reason I call it like that is because if he does zigzags, it's also not a straight line, meaning that he automatically gets movement where he can avoid attacks, which is what like I feel like Rapid should be able to do. Like for example, Ida can just like change 90-degree angles. Like you can't really just he doesn't go in a straight line like Rapid Toga, which is why I don't like her. Because that straight line is just so easy to like counter. Even Hawks, he literally can just go in a direction, instantly change to another direction. He can go forward and then turn around, do a literal 180 and just go, I'm going the other way now. Like he can just go in a different direction whenever. And not to mention he can just change directions with other like all of his moves. So that's what I think Rapid should be like. So in this case, right, he's moving. And also if you see a Dabi flying at you with his fire, you're gonna think twice about trying to kill that Mount Lady or Twice on the ground. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, whoa, let me deal with that. And then plus, if he does hit you, right, because you're trying to focus the Mount Lady, he could just start doing his stomps or claps or whatever, they've decided by this point. And boom. Like, now you're rolling. Now that person's trying to roll to dodge the, eruption. And you're like, especially if it's like a clap or something and there is no shield, then he can be moving while clapping his hands and be like, boom, clap, dash, 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 boom, clap again, boom, 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 flame, you know what I mean? But yes, next is Sir Nighteye. Now, I know what you're thinking. For a character who can see the future, how could they go about it? I don't really know him too much. Again, I haven't watched this, like, I think I've watched literally two episodes of My Hero. One where it was the first episode. I just couldn't handle Deku. I'm sorry. No offense, but like I had to skip the entire first episode of Demon Slayer and come back later because I just didn't want to watch Tanjiro crying half the time. And then like the only other episode I watched was like Toga getting blown up, so I had to watch the overhaul video or like episode where like Twice is cloning a million times. So I don't know if he actually clones a million times, but I know he clones more than he usually does. So that's the only time, like the only episodes I watch. So I don't know exactly. So like if you don't get mad at me for not fully knowing about, whatchamacallit, a character or whatnot, and being like, oh, you know, well, how come you don't talk about him doing this move? I have played a little bit of One's Justice, so I've kind of got an understanding that he's like a melee guy. So, but like no character really is fully melee. Even Kirishima's not fully melee. So I can't say what his alpha would be. And I'm not even going to pretend like I can. I'm not going to even come up with an alpha because I have no clue what his alpha would be. Maybe he pulls out a gun. I don't I don't know. But for his beta and gamma, that one should be pretty easy. His gamma should be a counter. Like the first ever counter in the game. We haven't had one. We've been with Present Mike introducing new mechanics and stuff. It does mean that they are open to new mechanics, and I think a counter would be awesome. Just like a fully new character, like, and they can make it so where it's only a melee counter. So any ranged projectiles do not work upon like him doing this button, right? Because like in the game One's Justice, like you could still shoot him. I mean, he would dodge, like he could dodge, but like there were moves that like if you did from range, he just couldn't dodge in the game. So I assume that it'd be the same, where like there's just moves he can't dodge. So I was just gonna say like make a counter that's in like immune to melee, so you don't take damage from any melee type hits, and it counters all melee type attacks. So any physical like attack on him that's still that technically is attached to someone's body should count. That would technically not make him super crazy overpowered, as there's a lot of characters who have ranged moves, but it also, you can kind of tell I'm a little biased because it would absolutely counter Hawks' beta. It would just bully that would never work on him because he would just counter it and then smack him. It would also counter Strike Dabi, which is also why I want to counter that. And it would also counter like All for One's beta. So there's like a lot of characters that that everyone just relies on that it would just counter. And there's a lot of characters that it wouldn't matter. So like I imagine anything that's like a part of someone as it's like they're hitting him. So like technically Toga's like beta, it's attached to her as she's like shooting it down, like, but it wouldn't work on the alpha because it's a boomerang thrown at him. So like anything where it's like technically attached, so her gamma would count because it's like attached. She's like throwing it out, so like he could counter that and smack her. You know what I mean? And then twice doing his thing. So like, and then like, but it wouldn't work against like Momo's alpha, but it would work against her beta. It wouldn't work against her gamma. Dinky, it wouldn't work against his beta or his alpha, but it would work against his gamma. It'd just be cool like that. Kirishima would be fully countered, and so would All Might, except for his alpha, which means 2 of his moves would be out of stock, which I think is fair. But it pretty much, it just, and there's enough characters in the game for it to be still useful. Like even against Froppy with her tongue, where she goes blah and tries to like spit at him, you just like we poof, and then like that would be cool. And then a beta, right? If they don't want to, by the way, which these can be interchangeable, because I also could see a world where the triangle like activates foresight, and he just guaranteed cannot be hit, like pretty much like permeation, but like he walks around, he can just walk around and still do anything he wants to do. Like I could see 2 worlds. So this is the world. The first one I'm going to start with is the world where his triangle is not like an activation of his quirk. So this is the world where it's not that. Even though I'm pretty sure they're going to go with that, but we're going to pretend like they're not. The beta could be an obvious move where like it's like, because he does like this dash move in One's Justice. So, and by the way, and just in case you're wondering, he would either be an assault or support. Actually, no, maybe tech. Actually, tech, because he's not going to be getting hit, so it's not. I can't say assault. So tech or support. He's one of those two, and the beta could be whatchamacallit, like a swing move or a dash move where he like swings on them or dashes at him at an opponent and goes starts smacking them with a combo or something. Because again, I haven't really seen Sir Nighteye fully. I'm not fully acquainted with them, and I don't want to just give them moves from one's justice, even though that's probably what they're gonna do. Um, and then the triangle, in my opinion, could be like a move that only works on his allies, where like he can save them from certain moves. So like, how do I say this? So like, this is why he'd be a support. So like, he'd go up to his teammate, like hit triangle on them, and the next time they would get hit, right, he would just like, maybe he could just appear and like push them out the way, and like he obviously wouldn't get hit either, but he's like invincible, but he, like, maybe he pushes them out the way, or he pushes them out the way while dodging. Like it can be either an after image that does it, or maybe they do it. They just get to like automatically dodge a move, or he, like if they don't want to make it to where he teleports onto them and pushes them away, or it could be just like an after image pushes them away from the attack, from like one attack, not multiple, just one, and like so they get to weave an attack, and it would make it'd make it to where people would actually want to like get close, group up so that he can triangle them. Again, this is most likely not what would happen, because his triangle's most likely, knowing the game developers, triangle's probably going to be him activating his quirk. In which case, this goes to the second one of what it could be. His triangle would, assuming that his triangle is quirk activation where he sees the future, assuming that he pretty much is like permeation, but like ultimate edition maybe. Like he could just like open chests and stuff, but if you attack him, he like weaves out the way. Like it moves him out the way, Because I can already see like a world where like you activate your triangle, you're opening a gold chest, you're not looking, a toga comes up behind you, goes to swing on you, and you go, and then your character's like, I already saw that. Or I've seen through you. Or ha, you missed. Or better luck next time. Something like that. Like he says one of those kinds of lines. Or you've been predicted, or I predicted you. Something like that. But, and then, so assuming that that's his triangle, and he just gets to dodge, like, an attack that comes, next time, which could happen, they could do that just to make it simplify. I don't exactly know what his beta and gamma would be. I still think that there should be a counter, no matter what. Like, his gamma should be a counter. I don't care what else they do. His gamma should counter melee. Like, it should just be a counter to melee, or a counter to, like maybe if they want, like he goes into a stance, by the way, like this is assuming he goes into a stance, and they can make it to where, like, either A, he just counters melee, and that's guaranteed, and that's all it does, or B, when he goes into the stance, if you, like, tap it, right, or if you do like nothing, right, he will automatically go into melee stance. But if you hold it after activating it, he'll go into like a ranged counter. So if you shoot him with a specifically ranged attack, then he will counter that and not counter the melees. They could do that. I think that's a little extra, because that means you gotta predict people, which could work. I mean, it fits his character, so it could make sense. I think it should just be a melee counter, just no matter what. But if they want to get extra and do some extra coding and also make it to where it kind of fits his character, they could do that, where it's just like you can switch between them depending on what you do. So you don't know and maybe they can even make it to where he goes into a different stance if the person is holding it. And that, therefore, that would make it to where people would be like, okay, like if you're the enemy, then you don't just, it's not like you don't know what's happening, because you could just look at him and figure it out. But it's also like, if you're just in the heat of the moment, you might not see it, and you get hit with the counter. Again, the beta don't, like it's like, I assume he'd do like some sort of like, either it could be a long range attack. Again, I think it should be like, he should be a support or tech, so maybe it's a dash. They've also done weird things, like Mirio has a shield, when I don't recall him having the ability to produce a shield out of thin air. So this could be where they like kind of do what they did with Mirio, and just kind of give him a new kind of attack, Like he does a ranged attack. I don't remember him being able to do a ranged attack, but maybe he like does something like that instead of like, a dash or something. I would love to see another type of grab where he like yeets you, but like I don't, because like you got Aizawa who pulls you in, but imagine a character who just like yeets you away from the battle, like Kendo triangling, but she triangles her opponent instead and throws them away. That'd be, but in this case, it's like him throwing you away. That would be pretty cool. They could also make it to where if I, like, yeah, I don't know how to say this. It's kind of like similar to what Twice was like in One's Justice. He did this like ruler thingy, and then he would like, so he'd measure out the attack, and then he'd go ping. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool looking. It was just very slow. So imagine a move where like pretty much like a distance meter. If you play like Roblox, then you're pretty familiar with it in a Battlegrounds game where you would black flash people. It would like do this little ruler thingy, and you'd black flash. But it'd be like for him, imagine he does this. He like there's like a distance thing. He's like and he like if you're in it, he goes like ping. You know what I mean? Like he just like dashes through it. And he's like so it's like ping, ping. Like that would be awesome. And they could make it to where it's like range up, number of rounds up. And then attack power up, of course, and then the third one could be counter duration up or move duration up, attack power up, of course, because you want the counter to do more damage, and then like maybe range up, just in case you want to have a set it has a range instead of just automatic counter. So it could have a range. But then if it is just melee only, right, then they will always be within melee distance unless they're like a character who has like technical melees, like whatchamacallit, Rapid Toga or something, or like Froppy, who like does her alpha. But then they could just make it to where it just misses, But like they could just do that if they really want to. But I think attack power up, may move duration up, and like reload speed. Yeah, so you can counter a little bit early, a little bit earlier than you usually would be when you're at level 4 and level 9. Also, this is unrelated to the quirk skills, but I think that they should make it to where plus ultra, if you're at like if your quirks are already at 9, makes it go to 10. I doubt they're not gonna do that, but it would be a good feature if plus ultra or plus chaos actually buffed you when you were already at 9, instead of just making it to where you get your shield back and you do a get off me move. Because obviously it'd be, I feel like you should benefit from it more than just the level 1s and stuff, because the fact that at level 1 it's actually better to be underneath level 9 to actually get the full benefit of plus ultra or plus chaos. I think it'd be cooler if they made it to where instead, if you're already at level 9, it like goes one level higher or something, and it's only obtainable by plus chaos or plus ultra. Therefore, it wouldn't have to do anything special like making range or something go up. It could just be like as if you went from 1 to 2, level 1 to level 2. So it just does like attack power up properly, and like reload speed up or whatever, depending what character it is, like whatever their in between like level ups are. I think that's just what I think. Of course, they're not going to do that, but I think that would be cool. Make people benefit from actually leveling up and still using plus ultra for maybe other situations or just to actually do more damage. With that being said, this video's already gone long enough. I'll see you all in the next video. Remember what I said in the beginning about what the next one of this would be for.